Oh yeah, today we have a special guest on the show, Dr. Coffee.
Hi, how are you?
And we're gonna smoke the Tarpon Sponger, which is the same cigar with a new label. What do you think about it? What do you think about the label?
Well, the label really shows and it looks very nice.
You like it?
Yeah, the blue color and the letters, it really stands out.
Thank you.
Yes, and
Well, you know, it's an old brand. I think I told you before. My father and I, we started making this cigar back in like 2010,
okay.
and it's an old Tampa label. I'll show you guys a picture of the original label. We've had the trademark for several years now, but it used to be made by a company called the Edwards Cigar Company. I don't know what happened to them. They probably went out of business many years ago. You mean like?
Yeah,
And anyway, the label on the box, which is very nice. I'll put it here so you guys can see it. It had a sponge boat, and it had like the Greek sponge diver on the boat, and then several guys sitting on there on the boat.
Okay.
And you see, there's Tarpon Springs in the background, and then the label would say Tarpon Sponger, made by the Edwards Cigar Company, 23 or 26 miles from Tampa.
wow.
So
So it's an old Tampa brand.
yeah, this was actually the first original Tampa brand that we brought back to life.
Wow.
But with this label, by redoing it, I'll tell you why we chose it this way, right? So you've got the mask, the diver's helmet,
Uh-huh.
obviously the sponge diver's helmet. And then we wanted to use kind of like a nautical rope around it. And then the gold and the blue because, the Greeks love the blue color
Okay, of the ocean.
of the ocean and the flag, a Greek flag. And then just the yellow to kind of outline it around. So my daughter actually, I gave her the idea how I wanted it, and then she redesigned it, and we made the little arc on it and stuff. And I'm really happy how it turned out, So I feel like this is a brand that I really haven't given it that much advertising, that much love. But it's a great cigar, I think, It's one of my favorites. So who knows, maybe in 2025, now that it's a new year, maybe we'll start to, at least not, locally we've always sold them, And I really didn't care for the old label. I mean, we had so many of the old labels from when Dad was around. I kind of wanted to, go through them and deplete them, and we still have a good amount of them left.
So what's the wrapper and filler?
This one is, we call this one the Tarpon Sponger Perfecto, triple wrap. So you've got a Habano is the basis for it is a Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan Habano.
Okay.
Then you've got a Connecticut wrapper, and then you have a little strain of the green, which is called Candela.
Okay.
So this one just has a really unique flavor, but Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler, a little bit of Dominican. But I feel like this is one of our best cigars. I really do. It's one of my sleeper brands.
Okay.
It doesn't get as much love as all the other ones, but I love them.
Has nice aroma.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, nice aroma. It burns very well. Very
Good flavor,
smooth,
huh?
Very smooth.
Good flavor.
Yeah, yeah. No aftertaste.
Who knows? Maybe we'll make a Tarpon Sponger coffee.
With the
It'd be cool, right? With the
with a helmet.
you see, you guys can see it.
Yeah. Was the helmet originally made from brass?
I think they're either brass or copper. There was a guy around the corner here. As a matter of fact, when you turn around the corner, you'll see the sign, diver helmets, and it's a Greek family,
Okay.
and they've been making the helmets for many years.
Oh.
Special order, very expensive. I think it was, like you said, I think it was either copper or brass. I can't remember, or maybe both. And I remember asking somebody locally here about the price of the helmets, and they said that anywhere between 10,000 and up.
Wow.
I mean, this guy was hand making them and then polishing them. Man, you got to see them, just unbelievable.
Piece of art.
They look almost like the Navy helmets, like the what do you call these divers?
Not seals, but
Like Navy divers helmets. But it's really cool to see, the the history of Tarpon Springs is really, really nice, and I feel like this is something that just showcases the history, you know? Showcases the Greek sponge divers, and I mean, it's just, I always fell in love with the helmet design, and I always wanted to really make a label with the design, you know?
Yeah.
When we did the first labels, are they here? I think they're here. Here they are. When we did the first labels back in 2010, I'll show the camera. You got the sponge diver and the sponges there, and it looks like it's the bottom of the ocean. But you really can't really tell too much, you know?
Right, it's a little bit confusing.
It's a little confusing, and then, you know, there it is, guys. But when I told my son, I said, look how nice it's burning, huh?
Yeah.
I said, let's go ahead and redesign it, you know? It's something that I've really, every year I've been pushing it back and back and back. And I said, you know what? The hell with it, we're just gonna do it. It's time. It's time to redo it, because it's something that I just really wanted to do.
Well, it gives a new face.
Gives it a new look, yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows, maybe we'll start advertising these a little bit more and putting them out there.
It's a good cigar.
And it's a great cigar.
Yeah.
We have this one under the Tarpon Sponger name, and then there's another little short one that we make as well that I really haven't been making more of those, but maybe we'll add more sizes, you know, we'll see. But I just really, I feel like if people come to town, like we were talking earlier, and they want to take something back, like a souvenir from the town, this is just an awesome, just an awesome little thing. But you know, there's always the concept or the misconception, I should say, that when you go somewhere, I'm sure it's happened to you, that people go on a vacation and they see cigars and they bring them back. Oh, look, I got you these Cubans or whatever, and they bring them back and they're just not really good cigars.
So how come? What made you search for the name of Tarpon Sponger?
Oh, good question. You know what? Thank you for asking me. You're not gonna believe this, right? I feel like sometimes I tell these stories to you guys and on the channel, and I don't know if people are gonna think I'm bullshitting them, because the stories are they're just perfect, I think, you know. So one day I'm going through an old magazine. We already had the shop here, so we opened up this shop in 2007, and we had already opened the store. And I'm going through an old book. I go, oh my God. I go, Dad, look, Tarpon Sponger. He says, holy shit. He goes, see if it's available. See if you can register. And we registered. What are the fucking chances?
Wow.
I mean, like, I didn't even know about it. Like, you know, it's like my Don Ramon brand, right? I did Don Ramon in honor of my father. We were just talking about it in honor of my grandfather. And Brandon and Katie were at the show, the Heritage Show. Now it's called the Ybor City Cigar Festival. Used to be the Ybor City Cigar Heritage Festival, which sounds like a very long name. Look at how nice it's burning. But anyway, so they give me this beautiful label, and I had already made that cigar, Don Ramon. I think I showed it to you, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. So guess what? It's like things that only happen to me, man. It's like, here I am. We're already making a Don Ramon cigar in honor of my father and my grandfather. And I know, I mean, I think I like to say that I know a good amount of Tampa historical cigar information. Carlito too, and Cynthia too. I mean, we were with her last week, or this past week, right? Talking about stories in Tampa, and, you know, historical stuff. They're just a wealth of information. And I like to consider myself the young generation, but I like to take in as much information as I can. Anyway, I had no idea that Don Ramon even existed as a Tampa label.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And I did it. I mean, I've done all these other ones. Flor de Tampa, Príncipe de Gales, Prince of Wales, because of historical reasons. La Floridana. These are old Tampa brands. But who would have known Don Ramon was an old Tampa brand at one time?
Incredible.
And now I brought it back, Cuban, Tampa, the whole fucking thing. But I'm honored to have it. And this one is another one that I just really love to have, and I just think it's so cool. And like I said, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, that people bring you back something from the islands, and a lot of times you're grateful. Oh my God, thank you. But they bring you back cigars. Oh look, I brought you back these Cubans. I got some. Well, we lost some during the flood. I don't know if you remember. There was a little box I had back there.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And it came in a little wooden box with a glass top. Well, let me tell you a little secret. I'll tell the audience too. If you get back any Cuban cigars that people bring you back from the islands, in a clear little, slide top plexiglass in a little box, they're fake as hell. They're fake as hell. Habanos does not make a little souvenir box like that. Yeah. It's just the way it is.
Are they using wooden boxes or?
Yeah, they make
or
like a little wooden box with a little slide top in the front.
No,
Oh, you mean Habanos?
The original ones.
To be honest with you, to my recollection, Habanos does not even issue a 5-count cigar box. They don't do it. You want a box of 5 Cohibas, you buy. I mean, they sometimes. Let me rephrase that. They'll sell you like 5 Siglo 3s,
Okay.
which are the small, thin ones, kind of like this a little bit thinner and shorter. And they'll sell you those in like a cardboard box with the Cohiba Indian on the front, and embossed. But a slide top glass box like that, it's too souvenirish. They don't.
Yeah.
But you go to Jamaica, you go to Dominican Republic, Aruba, anywhere around the islands. Mexico. Mexico's the #1 counterfeiting place, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah. A lot of people doesn't turn off, but I like to take a few drags because since I'm busy talking,
Look
How's it burning? Good, huh?
beautiful.
Good flavor.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not realize that Mexico is the #1 counterfeiter of Cuban cigars in the world, actually. Well, and I'm sure Cuba too, for that matter, because it's just the way it is. I mean, it brings up an interesting point too. I'm going to ask you this question, and you answer it as honest as you can.
Okay.
Somebody goes to Cuba, they bring you back 10 cigars. Let's say for argument's sake, right? They're made in somebody's house,
Okay.
and they got the labels on it, Cohiba. They put them in the box. Are they authentic Cuban cigars? Yes or no?
They are authentic Cuban cigars because they're made in Cuba.
Okay.
But the brand is fake.
That's
because
100% correct.
They're using somebody's name.
Pass me the torch, please. Thank you.
They're using somebody's name to benefit of the image that a cigar brings.
Because I've had that conversation with so many people throughout time and history and stuff. And you're right. You're 100% right. Like Doc says, so you get cigars, they bring them back from Cuba. Oh, my cousin made these, whatever. Okay. He's right. They're Cuban cigars because they're coming from Cuba, and the tobacco in it is Cuban.
Cuban.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, guys. You might smoke that cigar and think it's the world's greatest cigar. It could very well be. Now, with the same token, you might smoke a crappy one because they might make it with picadura, with short filler, and you're gonna say, "Man, this cigar was terrible." The problem lies when you got people that smoke it, like he just said, thinking it's the genuine article, a Cohiba, and it sucks.
Yeah.
So now that person who might not be familiar with cigar smoking or Cuban cigars, they're gonna go back and they're gonna say, "Man, I had the worst Cohiba
Yeah.
I ever smoked in my life." But the thing is, guys, you're not smoking a real Cohiba.
Right.
I mean, your family's from Holland.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you go to Europe, you go to Switzerland, and a Siglo 6. I mean, I haven't checked in a long time, but that's north of like $100 for one cigar. So Switzerland's gonna have, and I saw them when I went many years ago to Zurich. The authentic Cuban cigars. I mean, the stores are just fantastic.
Yeah.
They're the genuine article. So you cannot compare the blend of what that is to what you're gonna buy in Cuba for $50 a box
Right.
from some guy in the street or whatever.
Right.
But if you're just an everyday smoker and you go there and you get one of these boxes, if you buy a box, you take the chance and they turn out great. Good for you. You're enjoying them. You're smoking them. That's what cigars are about. Cigars are not meant, like because you smoke them all the time. They're not meant to be collected and.
Right.
I mean, I'm guilty because I have some stuff that I just sit on and. I remember those Juan Lopez that I gave you.
Yes.
Those were just amazing
Yes.
cigars from
Yeah.
God knows when. Real authentic Cuban Juan Lopez.
But the thing is, Cuban tobacco is per se very good tobacco.
It's a distinctive flavor.
It has exactly a distinctive flavor. So you're gonna smoke, even a crappy one is a pretty good cigar.
Good point. There's a little Cuban cigar that comes in a little cardboard box, and they sell them at the airport. And people bring them back for me sometimes, just as gifts. I don't even ask for them, but they bring them. It's called Guantanamera, and there's a big trademark issue with Guantanamera. My friend Frank Herrera, who is an attorney, he took the Cuban government to to court. and a Cuban guy in Miami named Jose. He won the trademark because he owns the trademark to Guantanamera.
Okay.
Cuba doesn't give a shit. They continue to make a brand called Guantanamera. What the hell are you gonna do, right? It's back and forth with that thing. But the funny thing about those cigars is they're machine made. They make them like a little Corona,
Okay.
kind of like the cheapo size.
Yeah.
That we make here. We call them Los Chipos. But it's a little machine made cigar like that, and it's a damn good cigar because it's Cuban tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right. Cuban tobacco, the soil, the flavor, you know, ¿cómo se llama eso? The arsenic, what? Not arsenic. The the red clay.
The type of soil.
The type of soil.
It's a clay soil.
Now I'm going to tell you my opinion, right? You have yours. We all have opinions, right? Like everybody says. I personally think the closest thing to Cuban tobacco is Nicaragua, because that volcanic soil in Nicaragua is very close to Cuba. Dominican tobacco is great, nothing wrong with it, but you have to blend it with other tobaccos, because I find it to be kind of bitter. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah. What, spicy?
Yeah, very spicy too.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful cigar, huh? It's burning. I love it.
It's the same with oranges.
Sure.
California versus Florida
Very
versus Caribbean.
I think the California ones, I think, are sweeter. What do you think? Like the Valencia ones?
The thing is,
Depends, right?
probably,
Depends on the strain too.
yeah. But if you compare, for instance, California oranges with Caribbean oranges,
Oh yeah.
the looks of the California oranges are beautiful, but the taste is a little bit bland.
You know what's funny about that? You're right, 100% right. That today I was checking the weather in Cuba, because Leo's mom is going down there to visit family, and his cousin is sick. Sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said, well, let me check the weather back there in like Santa Clara, Central Cuba, and I'm sure Puerto Rico's about the same too. Man, you can't beat it. You see, we're here in Florida right now. It's, what is it, 50-something degrees?
Yeah, 58.
And we got the door open, but it's fucking cold.
Yeah.
Man, I was looking at the weather in Cuba this whole week. 78, 83 tomorrow. It's just no wonder so many people from Europe and all these places,
They go there.
they flock to Cuba. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't agree with the government, of course. I'm still at odds with them and the regime there. Things in Cuba are the worst they've been in so many years. But as far as the weather's concerned, and like you said, the tropical essence of the island and the fruit, that they grow there, it's just the flavor. It's unbelievable.
Flavor.
Because they've got these perfect, they have the perfect weather.
That's why with coffee, you have coffee with different flavors depending
I was just going to get into that, so I'm glad you brought that
on
up.
the origin of the coffee.
Educate us on that. But before you do, let me just go ahead and show you guys. This is a paid advertisement.
Don Ramon.
Don Ramon, our espresso blend, made by Dr. Coffee. We haven't done a video in a long time.
Yeah.
So he makes this coffee, and this is, I always forget, 8 ounces?
Yeah.
8 ounces. And he also does another brand, which is the Dr. Coffee brand.
Yeah.
Okay, and that one is the same blend, right?
Yeah, basically the
But
same.
for a regular coffee.
For a regular coffee.
But I'm not going to say anything else. Please take it from the top to tell us about the coffee.
Well, you have coffees, Arabica coffee and Robusta coffee.
Okay.
There are other types of coffee, but they're not so popular for the roasting industry. So the Arabica coffee gives it more aroma and a more milder taste. Robusta is more a stronger coffee. It's a little bit more bitter, more chocolatey,
Wow.
more strong.
But tell me if this is true, because we've talked about this many times, and I think you've been making the coffee now for like 2-3 years for me.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Time goes by so fast. But it's all about the roasting, right?
Right.
So we can use beans from anywhere around the world, but the real key is the roasting of
Roasting,
Okay.
exactly. It's like tobacco. You want certain flavor profile, you start blending different types of coffee or different origins of coffee. So, for instance, Puerto Rican coffee is a little bit more acid. Has to do with the soil and the climate.
And that's right where you grew up.
Yeah.
In that area there.
In the mountains of Atlantis.
Central, kind of south central.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
South Central.
South central Puerto Rico.
Yeah, which is
Adjuntas.
coffee zone, 2,000, 3,000 feet high.
Wow, the elevation. It's
Yeah.
all about elevation.
Yeah, so the you don't have that direct scorching sunlight. You have a better bean. So that happens with all types of beans around the world. You have from Africa,
Ethiopian, right? Is
you
something
have
else, yeah.
Ethiopian, you have from Asia, You have.
What do you think is the? I mean, I know it's a hard question, but what do you think are the best coffee beans in the world?
Well, you have the Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee,
Man, I hear that's amazing. I mean, I've had it before. It's
which is
very
like a
good.
Caribbean,
Yeah.
rich soil,
that is really good. Coffee.
and it's grown very high. You have the Kona
Hawaii.
coffee, Hawaii, and you have the.
Kona's kind of expensive too.
Yeah, they're all very expensive coffees.
And we were talking about the price of coffee, guys, is
it's going up.
So
That's due to the climate change in certain areas. We're very much commercial. Like Brazil has been hit with some climate issues.
sure.
And
Was it that they had too much rain? I think it was.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say about the Kopilua?
Yeah, Kopilua.
I knew you were gonna bring that up. So
Yeah.
we always joke about the coffee. Tell the audience about the Kopilua coffee.
Well, Kopilua comes from a little, marsupial, well, a little rodent type, which eats the cherries, coffee cherries, and it digests it and it excretes,
Yeah.
and those berries are depulped and washed and
And they're reused again.
reused, and that's
and they're
why
ground,
they,
and they're.
and
I
they-
hear it's unbelievable.
they say it's like a
Oh my God.
like
Have you seen a movie called The Bucket List
yes,
with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman?
yes,
Jack Nicholson is a big coffee drinker, and he's telling Morgan Freeman, "Oh, you got to try this Kopilua." And Morgan Freeman is telling Jack Nicholson, "Man, you know what? You don't even want to know where that coffee comes from." He's like, "Oh, I don't care. It tastes great." And then finally he sees it, and he's like, "Oh, shit." But they say the flavor is
yeah,
unbelievable.
it's like a $40 espresso.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to try it one day.
I would like.
I mean, I hope they wash the beans good. You know.
Yeah, well, it's roasted.
I'll tell you. Uh-oh.
So Kopilua
So what about Kopilua? Yeah.
is a very unique.
Have you tried it before?
No,
Where can we get some? I mean, we're gonna have to
Well,
try it, man.
it's very expensive coffee.
I know.
It's-
You know what?
it's-
Fuck it, though. We gotta try it now.
Yeah,
Because I mean, we talk about it all the time. We've never tried it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it, and you know what? There has to be an espresso roast or blend, and if not, then I'll give it to you, and you can, blend it even more.
Yeah.
Como not blend it, but shave it down, right?
Right.
Make it thinner for
yeah.
the coffee machine.
But so after you have the different coffees from different parts of the world, then it goes to the roasting.
Okay.
So that's another science, because you can.
Was it your dad that did this originally?
My dad did it, and yeah.
So I know Holland. I mean, you guys are Dutch. Is coffee drinking really, really big in Holland?
Yeah.
More than tea, right? You would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was having this conversation with Diab actually yesterday. Because our friend who is from Middle East, Diab, he loves to drink both coffee and tea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny, we had this conversation yesterday, and he's like, I said, Diab, what do you like more? He says, oh, he always says, brother, and you feel the wind that's coming in now.
Yeah.
Woo, it's cold. He says, brother, I like them both. And I said, so what's the deal? He says, well, all the countries that were settled by the British, big tea drinkers, obviously.
Yeah.
India, Middle East, those countries love to drink tea. But they, of course, the first coffee, wasn't it from the Middle East as well?
Yeah, basically from Arabia.
Arabian
Yeah,
coffee.
Arabia
So
as well.
they drink both, really. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I know when I visit him up there in Ohio, we go to smoke hookah because he loves hookah, like the flavored tobacco, and we have some really awesome warm tea. And I'm not a tea guy, but I love going up there and having a tea. Just like, I don't know if you remember, many years ago, I'm sure that when you were growing up too, the Chinese restaurants, you would sit down, they would always give you hot tea.
Yes.
And it was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's a thing anymore when you
No.
go to the Chinese restaurants.
Well, it's
And my wife was telling me the name of the tea.
a green tea or something.
Yeah, but it's like a special green tea.
Oh, okay.
And she told me the name of it. She's like, wow, that was such good tea. You might
yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
But I like a good tea from time to time. But coffee, it keeps me going. Obviously, we have a dependence on coffee in the United States. It's just, I've already had 2 cups today. Well, 3. So I had 2 cups of regular this morning, and now I had one with you of the espresso. Right before we decided to make this crazy video. Well,
Yeah.
is there anything else you want to add about the coffee?
Well, the coffee is roasted in a very unique way. It's pot roasted, which is in a small batch coffee roasted.
How big is the pot that you use?
It's like a 4 or 5 quart pot, which holds around 3 pounds.
It's made out of steel, no?
Yeah.
Where did you find it? Where did you get that? I mean, where do you buy a coffee like pot like that, like for roast?
Well, you know, it
Or did you make it, or?
goes back to Puerto Rico.
That one?
Yeah,
You've had that all those years?
in
Wow.
in what's called in the countryside,
Oh my god.
where the old traditional people would roast their own coffee at home.
It almost
So-
looks like a wok.
Yeah.
It looks like a wok because I've seen it. You showed
Yeah.
me pictures of it.
So there's where I learned how to do it, and once I was here in Florida, I kind of adapted it to the our conditions here.
Yeah.
So it's a small batch coffee.
Was that your first coffee customer?
Yes, first one, first
And more are coming, of course.
first one.
I'm honored.
And then yeah, it's a very crafted coffee.
How many cups of coffee do you have a day? I know you drink it.
I just have to in the morning.
That's
and,
it?
Yeah,
How about during the day, no?
no, I try to keep it down.
Okay, so besides being an expert coffee roaster, he's also a medical doctor. Not here in the States for many reasons, but he has a degree from
Dominican
the
Republic.
Dominican Republic, and
Yeah.
he's licensed there. So, I mean, I know that it's a diuretic, the coffee, but what's
Yeah.
the reason behind that? Why do you always you drink the hot coffee and like a little while later, boom, you gotta go?
Caffeine is a diuretic per se,
Okay.
and it blocks the antidiuretic hormone. So the antidiuretic hormone kind of controls that you keep the water, and if it blocks the antidiuretic hormone, it makes the
Makes you pee.
makes the kidney
Function.
functioning,
And that's good.
and excrete.
That's actually
water.
good.
Yeah.
How about okay, so you always hear the theory or people that are of the opinion that you got to drink what is it, 8 bottles of water a day or something, which makes what, a gallon, I think, right? Basically.
Yeah.
these are
Well,
Matter of fact-
64
hydration time.
64 ounces a day, which is half a gallon.
So how many of these do we need to drink?
At least 4.
So at least 4 of these is what they say you should drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have people. I guess sometimes I'm guilty of it. I don't drink enough water. I do. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I drink more water than others. But the question is, for the people that drink coffee all the time, is that bad? If you drink coffee instead of water, more coffee than water?
Well, depends on what your body wants, but if
I mean,
it's cool-
coffee has water in it, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but if you makes you pee,
that's
then-
good, right?
yeah, but then
Then you got to replace it.
too much. Yeah, exactly.
You got to replace it. Okay.
Yeah.
See, we also get some medical advice here as well. But anyway, I really appreciate you being on the show today.
Well, I hope you guys can enjoy a nice cup of coffee.
A fine cigar and a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's our brand.
Which pairs perfectly.
And the reason we did this was because my dad was a huge coffee drinker. As a matter of fact, if you look at the label, he's smoking a cigar and drinking his little cup of coffee with his little Cuban cup.
Yeah.
So Milton, our friend Milton, designed this label, which is based on the painting that's up there. But I was gonna make this coffee, and I had an idea for it, and I showed it to Doc, and I told him about it, and he said, "Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it." So thank you very much for doing this. It's an honor.
Yeah.
He got this off the ground. And if you guys want this coffee, check out my website, seraphincigars.com, and of course the cigars as well.
Yeah.
And if you're local, come by and say hi and see us.
So stay smoky
Stay smoking, and thank you for being on the show.
anytime.
Enjoy, guys.
Yeah.